Today I'm watching Peaky Blinders Season 6, Episode 1. I'm very nervous. It's been a long time coming for this last season. I know this is the final season of Peaky Blinders. I really enjoyed the show so far, so it's definitely going to be bittersweet to find out how everything ends. I'm especially nervous given the turbulent situation that Tommy was in at the end of the last season. I don't know what a season without Tommy would look like. I'm hoping what he was about to do didn't actually happen. He was talking to Grace and it cut right away, so it's definitely been a long wait to find out what's been going on with them. I'm very curious to see what this assassination attempt on Mosley, what that's gonna look like. Obviously it didn't work. We lost Mr. Gold. We found out Alfie is alive. Michael had this big plan to take over the company, go to America and expand over there with his wife, and obviously Tommy was very against this, you know, Mr. Jones concept. So lots of things moving, lots of pieces in play, and this has been a very intense show so far, so I'm very curious to see how it's all gonna come to an end. But thank you so much for sharing in this first time watching with me. If you have any other suggestions for TV shows you think I should watch, please comment below. And if you want to have a say in what movies or TV shows I watch, be sure to join Patreon. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and check back often for more awesome content. No theme song, right into it? Oh, that makes me nervous. Picking up exactly where we left off. Oh, man. I was worried and trying to figure out how they would do a whole season without him. Flashbacks. He also had that dream with Alfie where the black horse was showing up.
Arthur took the bullets out.
Oh, thank God.
He said you stopped at a crossroads to throw up.
Oh, thank God, Arthur. Oh.
You're not a soldier, you're a coward. I heard you pull the trigger.
Yes, he definitely did.
Out. Here are 6 of them.
Well, Lizzie's like, you want to do this, don't let me stop you. Oh my gosh. Lying face down in the mud. Oh my goodness, Tommy. He said like once he met somebody who met his match, and that was Mosley. Or this, we still don't really know who stopped the assassination on Mosley. I have my prediction, or I have my guess, but we don't know. And even just the contrast of having the mud only on one side of his face, you know, the light and dark, this duality of his character. Very interesting. Who's waving the white flag?
Hello?
Mr. Shelby, I imagine you're curious as to who it was prevented the assassination.
Yes!
Last night's operation was carried out by soldiers from 3 Dublin brigades of the Irish Republican Army.
The IRA? Oh my God!
We need to keep Mr. Mosley alive.
Why do they want him alive?
To lean on. Last night we kicked away that crutch.
Who's the crutch?
It'll be us that you lean on.
Who was the crutch? What was the crutch?
Because you consistently fail to understand your own limitations.
He is very ambitious and thinks everything's possible. My God! What a crazy start! What was the crutch? What are we doing? I hate the suspense. What's happening? They kill Polly? I don't like this. I don't like this. What's happening? We didn't get to see it. We just saw Tommy's reaction and he was very upset. Was Polly the crutch they were talking about? I don't want to admit it. I don't want to say it. Polly was one of my favorite characters. I'm just waiting for them to cut to her, but I don't see it happening. Frick, we're not even like 10 minutes in. Oh my god.
Mom.
No. No.
I will take revenge on Tommy Shelby.
Yeah, well, that's obviously just gonna fuel that war for sure. Yeah, he's definitely gonna blame Tommy for this, because Tommy tried to take out Mosley, and that's what caused Polly to be killed off. Which I don't even like. I can't believe I'm even saying those frickin' words. Yeah, she wanted out. Like at the end of the last season, we saw her hand in a resignation to Tommy, and then he kind of threatened to take her out if he had to at some point, also. But that's heartbreaking. I know the show's killed off cast members before. I was not expecting it to be frickin' 5 minutes into the new season. I figured something would happen at the end of the season. Oh, my heart. Polly, what the frick? And we have no idea, like, we know she's passed away. Okay, they did do a time jump. I was wondering if they would. Ah, yes, my home country.
L'archipel de Saint-Pierre et Miquelon.
Oh, Michael, that mustache. No. I'm still processing what a world of the Peaky Blinders looks like without Polly. Tommy rarely listened to her, but at least she was, you know, the voice of reason and, like, tried to, you know, keep things in line and tried to keep everybody together, but now it's just gonna be chaos, I feel like. I love the cinematography in the show so much. It's so cool. Yeah, just this long shot down the bar. So cool. And yeah, he's clearly an out, like, everybody's giving him a suspicious look here.
This island made their living bootlegging till today. The other half fixed their boats.
Black Day. We've seen, yeah, Black Star. Like, we've seen other...
Je suis ici pour une affaire privée.
Well, that seems rude. Right in front of him.
Il est bon, lui, hein?
Oh, yep, there we go. Oh my gosh.
Let me explain. I'll not drink your toast, because 4 years ago I forswore alcohol.
Putain!
Oh my gosh, it's a long time.
No.
Oh!
Since I forswore alcohol, I've become a calmer and more peaceful person.
That's debatable, given the circumstances. Having these whip pants back and forth, so cool.
I need to prepare the room. You show me where?
I mean, to be fair, it looks like he only injured people, which is a step back for Tommy Shelby. He did show that bell a few bullets, though. I just love the framing of him between these two windows and their use of natural light. Oh, so good.
Now, Michael, when you're dealing with a very powerful enemy, taking revenge sometimes requires time.
That's a long time for Tommy to not, especially with Polly. Oh my gosh.
The Bell Tavern. If there's a gypsy in there called Johnny Dogs, can you tell him to come and round up his f***ing kids?
What the f*** are you, Santa?
I was wondering if it was, because they said Newfoundland and that's obviously in Canada, but then I saw the French flags. There's Arthur. Oh my gosh. But if I'm remembering correctly, Newfoundland was one of the last provinces to join Canada. I don't think it even happened until the 40s, so that would make sense.
Right. I have offered my comrade 12 million francs if the boat's between Miquelon and Boston.
Oh my gosh.
Not forgotten. Gone.
No, not gone. Just erased from the records like me own.
What? Why is his past erased? Very suspicious.
Okay. And I decide when the meeting is over. So sit down till I say.
That should go well. Tommy wants to punch Michael so bad I can feel it.
My fire.
I just poured him a pint of whiskey. Oh my god. I don't think that's what he's worried about.
Sir. And he told him that there is an informant in your organization in South.
Uh-oh, busted.
Should cut us off. It does see an opportunity.
Interesting approach, for sure. Okay. Oh, I almost thought that was Polly for a second. Oh, my heart. I was worried what Arthur's fate would have taken him, and it's not good.
Say, hello, Lizzie. Hello, children, in that dead voice.
Come on, Lizzie.
It's not very emotional, that's true.
And carrying a black briefcase. Inside the briefcase is £5 of pure refined.
He's turning in Michael. Oh my gosh. He just set him up. Oh my god. Bye, Michael. You're going to prison for a long time. It feels like Ada's becoming Polly more and more. Like she's has to keep rescuing everybody, and like I don't think that's a role she wanted. Oh my. She's just writing on his chest in lipstick.
Ever again. Or someone will write Arthur Shelby's name on your chest with a bayonet.
Yep. That sounds about right. Yeah, Ada's like, I'm not dealing with this. You're an adult, figure it out. Joy Division? Sounds like Joy Division. Such a cool set. That would be so fun to put together.
You like jazz?
No.
To fall on your knees, open your mouth, and say, yes, sir.
Oh my.
So it's Uncle Jackie falling on your knees for, eh?
Oh my.
You know that it was me who tipped off the ball.
Yes.
Michael's suitcase. I'm the reason he's in jail.
She's like, what the frick is going on?
Niece's husband banged up in Boston for smuggling opium.
It's like, well, he might change his mind about our deal now.
Play in the Oval Office if he does nothing. How does that play in South Boston?
Oh,
He's like, well, either way, it's good for me.
Excellent contacts with the family that runs East Boston. The Solomons family.
Yes, Alfie.
Have a good day, Gina.
Tommy's up to his old schemes of starting a war and thriving in chaos. Yeah, she didn't get what she wanted. Oh my gosh.
Tommy. It's Ruby. She's not well.
What? Come on.
Temperature of 101.
No.
Place in the mountains. There'll be snow. Tell Ruby I'll build her a snowman.
Do you want to build a snowman, Tommy Shelby? Oh.
Tiknamora. Tiknamora, oh, bang over and over again.
What does that mean?
All right, listen, Lizzie, I'm coming home.
Tommy, it's just a fever, love.
Listen to me, I'm coming home. I'll be on the next steamer back.
What does that mean? Very curious.
Ruby's horses. And you do everything that Johnny Dogs and his wife fucking tell you. Do you understand me?
Tommy's always been superstitious.
Okay. I'll do it.
All right, I'm coming home.
Oh my gosh. That set Tommy off for sure. I don't know what that means. Obviously it means something very grave and intense if he's that to, Polly? The lights just flickered. Oh, man.
Fucking people to look after me. Jack Nelson's getting me out of here.
Oh, yeah? Is he?
I don't think so.
$1 for a shipment of powder. And when the exchange is done, we can shake hands and go our separate ways.
That's not gonna happen. We know that's not gonna happen.
President Roosevelt's son, himself, and Gina Gray.
Oh!
Gina's coming to London, Michael.
Bye, Michael. You're on your own.
We'll be happy to show her the sights.
Your wife's leaving you. Oh! Oh, Tommy, Tommy, Tommy. And no theme song at the end either, just having these wind chimes and the birds chirping. So that was my first time watching Peaky Blinders Season 6, Episode 1. Crazy start to the last season. I know they're short seasons already. I believe there's only 6 episodes per season. We started off with the continuation of the exact same scene that we ended Season 5 with, which I wasn't expecting. Previous seasons, there's been a time jump, which we also did see in this one as well. But to pick up from that exact same shot, I think for a viewer, you know, the biggest thing we were waiting for was what happened to Tommy. Did he pull the trigger? What's going on? And then, you know, we find out that heartbreaking truth that he did in fact try and pull the trigger. But luckily Arthur knows his brother better than he probably knows himself and took the bullets out, so that obviously Tommy was okay. And just that shot of him lying face down in the mud, he's just so defeated. And usually Tommy, you know, carries himself so well and is so like strong, and the fact that he had just literally given up, no note, no goodbye, no nothing, just walked off into a field after everything that happened with Mosley. We didn't see too much with Mosley in this episode. They talked about it at the beginning, and we find out the IRA were behind, you know, that tip off and killing Barney and Mr. Gold and everything like that. And that's what, you know, they're like, we need to keep Mosley alive. I don't know what their intentions are. They didn't say specifically, but they need him for something, and they didn't give a lot of details. We also found out heartbreakingly that Polly was killed off as a result of that. They said that she was his crutch, and the IRA saying, you know, you need to be on your own, you can't have this crutch anymore, and they wanted to take that away from him. And I feel like whatever they wanted to accomplish, they achieved, and then some. Without Polly, Tommy was already, you know, distant and wasn't overly emotional or anything like that, and without Polly there, you know, I feel like we can safely say Polly was the closest thing to a mother figure that he had. We know Tommy's mom had passed away, but I feel like Polly definitely filled that maternal role for Tommy, and he definitely wasn't always nice to her or listened to her, but the fact that he had that person there, because Arthur is off doing his own thing and isn't exactly reliable. John's gone. Finn was too young. You know, Michael is still also this outsider, and obviously Tommy and Michael have other things going on. So I feel like Polly really was that person, and I don't know that I would have said she was a crutch, but it was definitely somebody Tommy leaned on and depended on whether he wanted to admit it or not. And it was just so heartbreaking. We don't know much about how she died. I don't know that we need to know all the gory details. It's already a very gory show, but the fact that we just got to see Tommy's reaction, and it was just heartbreaking to watch him break down and cry. I think the only other times we've seen him cry is when he was in the phone booth, when we had that, you know, train scene with Charlie and everything like that with the Russians. So he doesn't cry very often, and for him to just completely break down. We saw the truck pull up and there was 3 bodies in the back, and at first I didn't register. I know Mr. Gold had passed away, and I knew Barney had passed away, but I didn't know what the third one was. I thought maybe there was somebody else that had been killed off, like one of their henchmen or something that I had missed. I was definitely not expecting to lose Polly. It's the last season of a show. I figured some characters would be killed off, but probably towards the end of the season. I wasn't expecting this to happen so early on, and the show has definitely killed off characters before. Like I said, we've lost John, we've lost other characters, so they're not afraid to go there. But the fact that it was, you know, so early on, and just the fact that this was also, we'd waited for this season for so long because of everything that would be going on in the world, you know, for the past few years. I feel like that delayed production, because I'm pretty sure season 5 came out in 2019. It's been 3 years, you know, waiting for this 6th season, knowing it's the final season as well, and then just to come back to this was just heartbreaking. Polly was one of my favorite characters. We know her and Mr. Gold are planning on getting married. Obviously, with him passing away, that wasn't going to happen either, and was just such a strong female character in the show as well, and really stood her ground and stood up for what she believed in, and, you know, had been through so much and was still, you know, trying her best. And she had quit the Peaky Blinders. I don't know if she would have eventually have made it to America if that was the plan for this character. It was just a heartbreaking way to start this episode for sure. It was a very Michael and Tommy focused episode. We didn't see much of Arthur. They mentioned Alfie a little bit. Finn was in a few shots, nothing crazy. Ada wasn't super featured either. She had a few scenes, but it was definitely very heavily featured on Tommy and Michael, and this trip to Newfoundland, and then the trip to Boston. And honestly, honestly, I was expecting it to be more focused on Mosley and what his character would be up to. We didn't see him in this episode at all, but because that's how the last season, ended, was this big plan to take out Mosley, and then Tommy was working with this fascist party, and obviously we also saw Michael and Tommy have that discussion. So this episode felt like they really focused on that storyline, and to see what's going to happen with Michael and Tommy. And as Polly's voice said, one of you is going to die. I don't know who that is. I don't like that sentiment. Polly's instincts were usually always right, and I hate using it in a past tense, but I feel like by the end of this season, please no spoilers, one of them will be killed off. I feel like it'll be Tommy, as horrible as that is to say, just because we know what his intentions were. He did pull the trigger. He did want to end things. And, even if he ends up in this house in the country with Lizzie and the kids, I can't see the show having a happy, peaceful ending for Tommy. As nice as that would be for that character, I don't know that we would get that. Again, please no spoilers. I know all the episodes are out now, but that's my prediction, is that it'll be a heart-wrenching last episode, last scene. They definitely keep the audience waiting to the very, very last minute with the show, so I'm very nervous going into. I know I still got a ways to go, but that's just my prediction seeing episode 1. We were introduced to this Uncle Jack character, who's Gina's uncle, seems to be very powerful in the States and knows the president, and Tommy wants to get involved with him for this drug deal, which he denies. But now that Michael's in jail, is Tommy going to use that as leverage? I feel like it's a good situation for Tommy either way. Either Michael sits in jail or Tommy gets this deal. He doesn't care, I don't think, either way what's going to happen. And just the fact that he counted out one by one on each of his fingers who was going with him to back to the UK, and that Gina was coming and Michael's totally on his own, and Michael obviously was not taking that very well. He's like, yeah, me and Uncle Jack and the president's nephew, I believe he said, and Gina and his mistress and his wife are all gonna head on back to the UK, and you stay here. And I think Michael was just lost his mind, because I imagine for the past 4 years he's been imagining this reunion with Tommy. It says they haven't spoken in 4 years since Polly passed away, so I imagine in his head he's just been playing over and over what it would be like to meet Tommy again. And he was just so smug at that meeting. He was just sitting there with this big grin on his face and thinking he had the upper hand, and thinking, look at me now, Tommy, like I've done so well for myself. And Tommy, again, is always 2 steps ahead of everything, and knew that this was his plan. He set Michael up, he gave him that bag of drugs, and knew that he was going to call on this tip. And the fact that he tells Gina that, and they think that it was this informant, or maybe Tommy was just saying that to rise suspicion, I don't know. But Tommy got exactly what he wanted from that Michael interaction. He is, heading back to the UK now, and other than the fact that Ruby seems to be in a very dire situation, I think Tommy's pretty happy with everything that happened with Michael. Tommy seemed very concerned when Lizzie starts explaining what's going on with Ruby. I didn't understand what those words meant. I don't know what that signifies. Obviously, it set off some alarm bells. We know Tommy puts heavy stock into superstitions and everything like that. So she's like, go stand by the horses. Don't let her ride a horse. And obviously, we know with curses and everything that happened with Grace as well. So he's obviously on high alert and feels like somebody's coming after him. He has to go back. He has to protect Ruby. And Lizzie's kind of downplaying it, like she just has a fever, she'll be fine. It's not that bad. And she was just letting them know that they couldn't travel. But obviously Tommy sees it as much, much more, and is very terrified for what's happening, and is instantly abandoning his plans and coming back. So I'm very worried to see what those words mean, what that implied, what those symbols mean, and hopefully Ruby is okay. When we had that time jump, I was wondering if the show would get us up until World War II. I don't know if there'll be another time jump in the next few episodes of the show, but I feel like Tommy would do well during that time, as horrible as it is to say. I don't feel like he would enlist again, but I feel like, given his business ethics, even when we hear him, speaking French, he says, every catastrophe is an opportunity. And I feel like he would apply that sentiment to the Second World War if it came to that. I also feel like there was some throwbacks to Tommy's World War I days with, having that opening shot of him laying down in the mud and having him speak French. And even though he wasn't in France, he was in a French occupied part of Canada. And the fact that he was, those two pieces together. And for a second I was like, I thought Tommy said he would never go back to France, so I was wondering what was going on. Great cinematography throughout, which is not a surprise. The show is stunning visually, just an amazing visual show to look at. And even at the beginning when we have Tommy in the mud, it's a lot more handheld, it's a lot more chaotic, and he's, you know, a lot more frantic. And there was a few tilted angle shots as well, like when, you know, Ada finds Arthur in the bar and Tommy's at the bar and it's tilted again right before he cuts that guy's face. And there wasn't a ton of violence, there was that scene, but for a Peaky Blinders episode it was pretty toned down. And even with Tommy not drinking, Arthur is definitely heavily back into drugs, but the fact that Tommy's completely stayed off drinking and seems to have been for the past 4 years, and he's like, I'm much more peaceful now, but then, you know, stabs somebody in the face. But maybe for Tommy that's his version of peaceful. The lighting was great as always. We have a lot of practical shots, a lot of lamps within the scene. The natural light, I love that shot of Tommy framed between the two windows in the pub, amazing. The soundtrack, great as always. No theme song for this one, and that was it's always a little off-putting because you expect it, especially with you, like, it's been 3 years, you know, we want to see the show again, you want all those pieces that you love that make the show so great. Cold open, and then even at the end we just had those birds and wind chimes playing, so I'm very curious to see if the theme song will be back in the next episode. I was also surprised to find out Tommy didn't go instantly into revenge mode with Polly. He seems to be playing the long game, and very long game if it's been 4 years, and hasn't taken any big steps in that process. I feel like Tommy's very smart and has been laying his groundwork and is making still steps in that direction, but he's definitely going for the long game, and the show has definitely been a slow burn in some aspects, so it's making me very nervous and anxious to see what the payoff, what his big revenge plan will be after 4 years of orchestrating and planning and pulling strings and creating networks and whatever else he's been doing behind the scenes, because there's no way he's not going to seek revenge. There's no way he's going to let them get away with this, but he also seems to want to get out. He's like, you know what, I'm going to do this Boston job and then I'm done, and then I'm going to retire basically. So maybe he won't, but it definitely would be a big jump for his character to not seek revenge for Polly. Michael definitely pledges revenge and says, like, I'm going to go after whoever killed you, Polly, and maybe something inside of Tommy just, he doesn't want to pursue that anymore. Maybe he's come to terms with, you know, violence for more violence, and revenge just creates more violence. It's just an endless circle. I feel like that would be a big character realization. I don't know. And we did see him just, you know, creating war, and I was doing it in Boston. He's like, well, if you don't do this, I'll just go take it to your rivals, and just pitting people against each other again. And I feel like that's very true to Tommy's character, and he just thrives on that chaos. Overall, it was a heartbreaking episode with the loss of Polly, and to see this time jump between Michael and Tommy and where they're at. And I'm very curious to see what the rest of the characters are up to. We didn't really get to see a ton of screen time for them in this episode. I wonder if we'll ever meet this Uncle Jack character, if Tommy's going to be traveling with him in the next episode. That's my prediction. I'm guessing we will. I'm very curious to see who they cast in that role. The casting in the show has always been amazing. If Mosley will be in any episodes this season, if Alfie will come back, with Jessie, what she's up to. I was also not expecting Tommy to ever say that he wanted to get out and be done. Whether he thinks he'll die before that happens, I don't know, but I didn't think he would ever want out. Obviously, with everything that happened with Polly, it's shifted his whole trajectory. I feel like as a character, I feel like everything he wanted to accomplish now went out the window. Maybe his priorities shifted. He wants to spend more time with his family. You know, he's starting to realize things can change very quickly, especially in this very, very dangerous line of work. So, very curious to see if he'll get out, what the future of the Shelby family looks like. Ada isn't working for Tommy anymore. I don't know if Arthur has a title role or anything like that, if it's just Tommy on his own. We don't know if Finn's still involved. But thank you so much for sharing in this first time watching with me. If you have any other suggestions for TV shows you think I should watch, please comment below. And if you want to have a say in what movies or TV shows I watch, be sure to join Patreon. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and check back often for more awesome content. No theme song, right into it? Oh, that makes me nervous. Who's the crutch? Why is his past erased? I just poured him a pint of whiskey. She's just writing on his chest in lipstick. And no theme song at the end either, just having these wind chimes and the birds chirping. You're going to prison for a long time. Did show that bell a few bullets though.